Hello, everyone. My name is Tanya Jones Awalusi, and this is Butterfly Effect Counseling and Consulting LLC. Woo! We got a treat today. Look who's in the house. This is someone very special to me. Now, y'all know I'm just starting this YouTube journey, and we spent about at least an hour trying to figure out this angle. So I'm going to tell you right now, this is our first interview with a very special person. And, we didn't figure out the angle in a whole hour. So guess what? We're going to focus on her. And later on down the road, we'll figure out how it really goes, right? But this is how it is today. This is what we're doing today. And so if you don't know this person, this is someone special to me. This is someone real life special to me. I'm talking DNA special. This is my lovely, wonderful, talented, beautiful sister. Biologically, my sister. We are not twins. I don't know how people get us confused. The one, the only, LaTasha Stewart-Estelle. All right, come on. Hey, sis.
Hello, thank you for having me. Lovely introduction.
Yes. Now, why did I want her? Other than being monumentally important to me and a very special person in my life, she is someone that I look up to and someone that I have been watching for years. Okay. Not only is she my support, right? But she has a story, and not too many people know her story. And she likes to glide in the background. And so today she is up front. We are going to focus on her. I'm going to slide back into my little seat here. And today we're going to ask her some questions that she is willing to open up, be a little vulnerable, and share. And so if you don't know her, you're about to know her. LaTasha Stewart-Estelle, here we go. You ready? All right. Okay. Question number one. and just for the record, LaTasha is her name, but I call her Tasha. So if you don't mind,
it's your show.
I'm gonna call her Tasha because that's how I grew up. All right, so Tasha, please tell me what it is you do for a living, and then what it is you do for a passion, and let's kind of start there.
Okay, well, for a living, my 9 to 5, I'm a sales director for a major book publishing company.
Major.
We're the largest book publishing, Christian book publishing company around the world. And I oversee a force of about 15 different independent sales reps who sell our product into the independent bookstore marketplace, as well as I run the library division at my company.
Woo, did y'all hear all that? Okay. And what is your passion? What should we know you by on social media? Who are you?
So on social media, you'll see me as the Black Love Boutique. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, I'm Black Love Boutique. But I also, besides my book publishing career, I also am the CEO and founder of BlackLoveBoutique.com.
All right. CEO and founder. Okay.
Yes.
And so, Tasha, can you just let us know, like, how did this all start? Like, when did you form this company and what is it about? And give us the details.
Sure. So Black Love Boutique is a fashion brand that I founded back in April of 21. And really, it was just the negativity that I saw aimed at Black men and women. I wanted to do something about it to counteract it. We're a fashion brand, so our motto is it's not just a t-shirt, it's a mindset.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
okay.
So Black Love Boutique basically celebrates all things Black love and Black culture. We recognize our power as a people, and we're not afraid to express it, and we do so through fashion. So I sell t-shirts like the one that I have on now, sweatshirts, hoodies, mugs, bags. We have candles now, sweatpants, jackets, hats, all types of different, fashion accessories and fashion apparel.
Okay. And can you just you're wearing one now?
Yes.
Can you kind of explain the one that you got on now?
Yeah. So it says, I like my man strong and black.
Okay.
If anyone on social media, there's a huge kind of back and forth between black men and black women. Who's supportive of who and who, whatever. So I just wanted to make statement pieces, which I think my shirt is obviously a very big statement piece, for those who are positive about the culture, positive about black love and relationships, and that are celebratory. So all of my shirts are celebratory in some sense, whether it's about you yourself, starting with self-love, whether it's about a relationship that you're in, whether it's a culture, and I have everything from baby clothes on up to adult.
Yes. And your line actually started with like a self-love type of t-shirt. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, self-love is one of the first, it says love thyself. It's one of the first t-shirts that I made. I was working with a designer, but I do actually do most of the designs myself. So I'm
so all right. Okay.
One of my other many hats. It's all wordplay and trying to figure out, the wording, how to make it, snap on a t-shirt, how to make it focused, and then to come in with the design. But love thyself is a very simple, easy design. It's one of our best sellers, my king and queen. I know last year for 2022, my queen shirt was my top seller.
Very popular shirt.
Yeah, very popular shirt. And 21, love thyself was the top shirt. And for you as a therapist, I think interesting to note is that I would get messages from people whenever I would post the love thyself, and they would say, I don't think I can wear that shirt yet, because they were struggling with loving themselves. So I really see my job, as just, again, putting out statement pieces that celebrate us, celebrate yourself, celebrate your family, our culture and our love, however that shows up in the world.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. That it's so interesting that you would get calls or emails or of people saying like, I don't know if I can wear that yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can remember when you first started, actually, there was a shirt that I didn't think I could wear because I was like, well, I'm not like pro-black enough. And I'm like, huh. And then it got me to start thinking about some things in my own life, right?
Sure.
To go on this journey, like, why can't I wear a shirt? That was like a very powerful statement. So you really have found this area where you can bring your phrases, your statements, your comments together, right? To really celebrate culture and celebrate people and love.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you see your company in the future? Like, what do you want to do with Black Love Boutique?
Sure. Well, again, just want to continue to grow. We have a very nice, dedicated community of, of followers. But I'm still, small, still relatively small. So I just want to continue to expand, continue to, add product to the mix. And I will go wherever the business takes me. Basically, I'm constantly adding new product, new designs, testing out things to see how the audience, and the community like what I'm putting out. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we take it off the site.
Now it's interesting you say wherever the company takes you, because I know this company has taken you across the seas
Yes.
to a whole nother continent.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us more about how you are connecting your love to the continent of Africa, and even recently made a shirt for someone special in what country was it?
Botswana.
Botswana.
Well, she lives in the U.S., but she's of Botswanan heritage, I guess. And so, yes, I have been to the continent a couple of times, specifically Ghana, which, if you're on social media, Ghana right now is like on fire. They have a thing called Dirty December, where it is like, if you ever want to go to Ghana, go in December if you can, because the amount of concerts and parties and just it's every day and it's all night long into the morning, if that's your thing. That's not really my thing, but but I do love music. So but yeah, so I have been to the continent a few times, and have am strongly considering, well, not strongly, I'm planning on relocating to Ghana eventually. Have purchased land. I'm in the middle of purchasing more land now. Okay. And yeah, and my boo is Ghanaian, so we have a natural connection there.
Yes.
And so that's how I'm connected to Ghana.
Yes. And one of the things that I was also thinking about, as far as you in Ghana, is your work that you are doing with, I call it, and I've heard you say this before, my village.
Yes.
Can you explain, like, what do you do overseas with a village? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I had traced my heritage, my DNA, with African Ancestry, which is a Black-owned company that I recommend highly. Dr. Gina Page is one of the co-founders of African Ancestry, and she traces, her company traces your DNA back to the specific ethnic group or tribe that you are connected to via DNA, and then we'll tell you what the present day country is in Ghana, in Africa, where where you're located. So we did our African Ancestry, and we are on my father's side. We are Ewe, from Ghana specifically. So when I went to Ghana, I went specifically to learn about the Ewe culture, and while doing that.
Go ahead. What happened?
While doing that, while in Ghana, and going to this traditional Ewe village called Tafe-Ebwefe, I got a name. I participated in a naming ceremony, and so they surprised me. The chief surprised me by naming me Queen Mother.
Queen Mother. Okay.
And so my work with them continues. It's been a couple of years now that I've been named Queen Mother, and when I came back, I got a whole ceremony where I was inducted as Queen Mother, and actually not only just Queen Mother, but they really surprised me by naming me a Regent Queen Mother, which means I'm head of all of the other Queen Mothers in the village. Yes. And so that was a surprise. And so I work with them. I collect clothing, and donate books, mostly children's books, but also adult as well, and then ship it over to my village, where they distribute through their schools. And then I also, because again, like I said, my boo is Ghanaian, so I also send to his village, which is in Techiman. But my village is Tafe-Ebwefe, Kente Weaving Village. And that's in the Volta region of Ghana, and that's the Ewe culture.
Okay, I told y'all she was out here doing stuff, right? If you don't know, now you know. Now, just so that my boo and my other half gets a little love, what else did you find in our heritage?
Yes, so that was our father's side. The Ewe people is our father's side. Our mother's side is Igbo from Nigeria.
Whoop whoop.
So Igbo land, Nigeria, Southeast Nigeria. We're Igbo. Yeah, which I think matches up well with us because the Igbo people are definitely known for being entrepreneurial in spirit and very strong about business. So I thought immediate kin to our Igbo side.
Yes,
definitely.
Wonderful. And we will definitely have the links to not only your business and everything that you're doing in your village, but also to the African ancestry.
Yes.
Which is what really was able to help us connect to our heritage and kind of have you go on that journey and learn our roots.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're 100% a company that I trust. And they destroy your DNA. They don't collect it. They don't sell it. And that was vital for me. So
yes. Okay, so we're gonna do a little shift. I want to know, and I love what you're doing, right? You're saying, hey, I have this business, and at the time that you grew this business was during a very hard time in the United States, right?
Sure,
we had the pandemic, we had George Floyd and all of that going on, and so you kind of took that moment and made something wonderful, right? People don't know you have your own tragic behind the scenes story, and so can you share with us what it is that you lost and kind of your behind the scenes story that a lot of those watching and who know you might not know?
Sure. So I am a widow. So I talk about my boo, but before my boo, came, I was married previously. And my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer right after our son was born. So my son Lloyd was born, and then my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4, had already spread throughout his body and metastasized throughout his body. And he lived approximately 3 months after our son was born. And then he was gone. And so I was left with a 3-month-old, and, had to try and keep it together. It was back in 2009, we were in the middle of the housing bubble. It had, the housing crisis in the United States. And so I remember just everything had fell apart for me. And so my husband died. Our house was being foreclosed on.
Yes.
I was like, where, I had recently separated from my job.
Yes.
About a year prior to that. So like everything was happening and crashing in at me all at once. And then I had a newborn baby to take care of.
Yes.
So it was a very dark time for me. My wonderful sister moved in with me after my husband died to help kind of take care of me and my son and just like make sure we were okay. And it was very difficult. It was very difficult.
Yeah, I personally can remember that time like just like a tornado.
Yeah.
Right? It just out of nowhere.
Yes.
Right? Out of nowhere, life completely
changed.
And changed quickly.
Very quickly. Yes.
After his passing, you revealed something to me that I never knew.
Okay. All right.
Regarding the anxiety you had about your brand new newborn,
sure,
and your ability to be his mother. Can you share a little bit about the anxiety that you experienced?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of anxiety. Because my husband had died, and then I was, I had this newborn. I was really shell shocked. I just felt like, one, I felt like I couldn't mourn my husband because I was very afraid, very paranoid, quite frankly, that someone, would take my child away. And that was the last thing I had of my husband. And so I felt like if I didn't keep it together, if I didn't, kind of put on a facade of being okay, that someone would take my kid. If they knew I, was crying myself to sleep at night, or was sad or whatever, that they would take my son from me. And I, couldn't let that happen. So I just shut all feelings down, kind of went on robo mode. I'll be honest, I honestly do not remember the first year of my son's life.
Yeah.
Because I think that's kind of God's protection. And I just blocked it out, and I just went kind of like on autopilot, and yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, I definitely can remember, and we've talked about this. This is not, I'm not sitting here as if like springing these questions on her that she doesn't know about, but I can remember thinking, wow, Tasha's just so strong, and not knowing she's at home crying herself to sleep and afraid that someone was going to take her baby away.
Absolutely.
And fast forward, mental health, right? And we're learning more and more about it. And even for yourself, I know we recently did something together in regards of suicide, but fast forward, knowing more about mental health, knowing that community is so important. Do you think with what you know now, you would still kind of be in that space where you were afraid that your family was going to take away your child? Like, when you look back, like, what do you think? Or is it the same? Like, have you thought about that?
I think it's the same. I mean, I think that was my paranoia. I mean, that was my truth. I really did feel like if I don't keep it together, people are gonna say this girl can't raise no child, And so for me, I was like, oh, I but also the way I was raised. Like, our father was in the military, he was a Marine. And so my dad raised me, never let him see you sweat. He used to tell me that, never let him see you sweat. You keep going, he was a Marine. So I take after my father. And I used to also spend a lot of time with my dad, watching football together on the couch, because that was our bonding time. So I was always, the one, I would listen to him talk. And so he was very much, don't let people see you sweat. Don't let, you got to just keep going, keep going. So there was no, no time for me to stop and mourn my husband, because I had a 3-month-old that I had to, and I wasn't going to fail in that. Did I always feel like I did a great job? No, definitely not. I mean, at one point I was on food stamps.
Yes. Can we talk about that journey?
So let's talk about
it. Okay. So, I mean, we're going way back. Okay.
Thank God.
How old is Lloyd now?
So my son now is 13. He'll be 14 next month.
Okay. So we're going way back. But there was a time, even for myself, right? I was on welfare, and I was working the system, working the system, because I found myself, I was a single mother, right? And brand new to New Jersey. Like she said, I had moved in with her to help her out, but at the same time, I had my own situation. We'll talk about that another time. But how was that for you to? I'm talking go from corporate
America
to food stamps.
Right, to food stamps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't where I needed to be. I mean, and this is no knock to those who find themselves in social services and needing that help, because I certainly did at that point. But I remember my caseworker looked at me and she said, "You're not the usual type of person who's here. Where do you see yourselves in 5 years?" I immediately said, "Not here." I'm not here. And she started laughing, and she said, "That's what I wanted to hear." So I knew, number one, I said in my head, everything that I did for my son. And I said, this is not the life that his father would want for him. So I have to keep going, just for that alone, because I wanted to raise my son as if his father was still there, as if it was still a two-parent, household, which it was, before previously.
Yes.
And so I wanted to make sure that whatever it was that he wanted, within reason, obviously, that he would get.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I didn't want him to have to suffer or have any lack.
Yes.
Because his father died. And so I tried to make sure that he had a wonderful, happy childhood, and that he was able to do things. And I'm happy to say, my son has been, to Ghana as well. And he's been, to the Bahamas and on cruises and all kinds of things.
Oh, she was always on the go, okay? On the go. Next thing I know, she got a passport, and
absolutely,
she taken her son everywhere. Do you think though that was a part of the anxiety at all? Did anxiety play a part in that as well?
In
this idea that my son is going to know a life despite not having his father, like.
No, I don't think that. I think that was just me wanting to make my husband proud.
Got it.
That's what I think it was. I because I know that he was very worried. I mean, we had talks before he died.
Yeah.
So it was it was a very dire situation. I mean, to be diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I mean, he knew he was dying. And we would laugh and joke about it. I mean,
can we go there for just a second? Sure. I know we kind of went past that. Go ahead. But you were there
when he died.
Yes.
Yeah, I was in the room when he died.
And you were able to support him through that.
Absolutely.
And that is something that I'm sure was a difficult thing.
It was very difficult. Very difficult.
So I know you guys had conversations. I remember there was a joke or two about applesauce. Something about he wanted something, and I don't know, but it was something about applesauce, and you were like, well, all we have is applesauce, and he said, well, let's have the applesauce then.
It was such a hard, if you remember, I'm sure it happened, but I was in such a tunnel, a focused tunnel. I mean, myself, his mother, we would trade back and forth. We had a pad where we would write down like any observations about him that we saw, so that we could pass on to each other, because I was taking care of him at one point, and then she would give me a break, and then she would start taking care of him, and we would write everything on this pad. And then when he had been in the hospital 2 times, and the second time he had gotten out of bed and went to go to the bathroom and fell in the home. Mm-hmm. And I just remember hearing a fall. So I ran, to see him, and he was down on the ground. And I'm like, what is going on? And then, come to find out that he had, hidden some things from me, that he didn't want to worry me because he was always trying to take care of me. But when I had to call the ambulance to come and get him and everything. And that was the last time, that he was home. Yes. Because then he was in the hospital.
Yeah. So I want to end us with, because you have taken us down this journey. Mm-hmm. What has helped you along the way? Mm-hmm. To go through everything that you've gone through? Mm-hmm. Where do you get your strength? Mm-hmm. Where does that come from?
Yeah, absolutely from the Lord. Absolutely from the Lord. My faith in God, His grace and His mercy have sustained me.
Amen.
Have sustained me, absolutely, 100%. 100%.
Amen.
I think it's the only thing that one of the major things that kept me going. My son was the other, because I couldn't fail my son. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't going to fail my son, because then I felt like, again, his father would be disappointed. And we had talked about, his fears as a man was in leaving us, leaving his newborn child and leaving his wife behind.
Yeah.
And so he was fearful of that. And I said, don't worry, I have him. It'll be fine. And I assured him that it would be fine. So I knew for myself, I couldn't go back on that. I mean, he was basically on his deathbed when I told him, I've got it. I'll take over.
Right.
And so, I wasn't going to fail, I wasn't going to fail my son. I was going to fail my husband. I wasn't going to fail myself. So I knew I had to keep going, keep grinding. But what gave me that was the Lord. I was able to just draw on the strength of the church. I did go to Grief Share, yes. Which I had learned about at church, and that was able to, help me kind of cope. I had my sister moved in, and and the other thing too is it's hard to be, it's hard to be depressed, or it's hard to be sad around a newborn. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to have a newborn child. And it was, to see him, growing and laughing and everything. He didn't know what was going on. So it gave me something positive to focus on.
That's good.
Yeah. It gave me something positive to focus on.
I mean, and when I moved in, I didn't just move in by myself. I had two of my own kids, so it was definitely chaotic.
Right. So it was, it was, and that gave me something. I had family around me that supported me, and I had great friends.
Yes. Amazing friends.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I had a support system. But it was absolutely 100% my faith in God that I knew, as the saying is, trouble don't last always.
Right. Mm-hmm. Very good. I do want to point out, we didn't put this on the agenda. We didn't talk about this beforehand, but also this loss that you experienced, this was not your first loss.
No, absolutely not.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, being that we are sisters, we lost both of our parents.
Right.
Okay. And so this was not, as they say, your first time at the rodeo. No.
Right, exactly. We had lost our mother first. 3 years late after that, we lost our father. And and then I lost my husband several years after that. So it was, as they say, death comes in threes. So it was 3 very important people that I had lost in my life. Yeah, absolutely.
And loss kept going. Right?
Absolutely.
Loss kept going.
Loss kept going.
Yeah. We lost our brother in 2020.
We lost our grandmother.
We lost our grandmother. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Your husband, later his mother passed away.
This year his sister passed away.
This year his sister has passed away.
Well, last year. I mean, we're in January, so 2022.
I was like, last year. Yeah, 2022.
Yeah.
And then recently, unfortunately, my ex-husband has passed away. So we are not strangers.
Not at all.
To loss.
Right.
But through it all, the Lord.
Through it all, the Lord has sustained us.
Amen.
Amen. And honestly, for me, I'm able to see it as a complete and full life cycle. When we come into this world, our time is not known. We don't know when we'll go. Some will go as children, unfortunately, and some will live to a ripe old age, 80, 90, 100 years old. You know what I mean? And so it really is just what you do with the time that you have here. And so I want to spend it celebrating Black love and Black people, Black culture.
You gotta love the turnaround. Absolutely. Absolutely. Plug your company again, Ty.
Yeah, so my company again is called Black Love Boutique. You can find us online at blackloveboutique.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at The Black Love Boutique and on Facebook at Black Love Boutique. So.
All right. Well, I told you that this was going to be a special interview, and I'm so happy she did this. Y'all have no idea. So thank you, Tasha, for doing this.
No problem.
I hope that this, if anything, not only just shined a light on my sister, but also shined a light on, there are going to be some things that we face as a people, as humans, and through it all with the Lord, we can get through these things.
Amen.
And to build a community around yourself is super important. I have no doubt that my sister would make it through and survive and do all of that, whether I had moved in or not. But at that time, she needed me. Absolutely. And I needed her. Mm-hmm. So let's keep that real. Mm-hmm. We needed each other, and we were able to come together and just go from there. Mm-hmm. And now look at it. We're thriving now.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I'm going to end it right here. I hope that you were blessed by today's session, our little interview here with LaTasha Stewart-Estelle. Thank you so much, Tasha, for being here.
Sure.
I am very appreciative.
Thank you for having me. I'm very appreciative that I was your first guest.
Yes. Number one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So please, again, visit Black Love Boutique. I hope you see something that you like. And you can also find more about my village, Tafe Buefe Kente Weaving Village. We have a page on Facebook as well. And you can learn all about the Ewe culture. And if you are going to Ghana, we do tours to the village. So you can go and learn about the Ewe people, and you can try your hand at kente weaving and all of that. So, you can hit me up about any of it.
Any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tasha.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we're signing off. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, I got to do you got to click, like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you can be notified when I have wonderful guests like today's guest, LaTasha Stewart-Estelle.
Can I say something? One thing? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to let y'all know I'm working on my own YouTube channel.
Okay.
And
you heard it?
Yes. 2023 is going to launch, but we're going to be talking all things Black love. Again, men and women, we're going to sit down, and I might be able to convince my boo to actually get on camera. We're going to be talking about oh, sorry, there's a mosquito here. But we're going to be talking about not interracial relationships per se, but intercultural relationships, because how I am able to deal with this Ghanaian man. It's something. Oh, it is something. So the blending of African American culture and the blending of Ghanaian culture, and how we're able to do that quite successfully is one thing that we'll be discussing, but as well as just male-female dynamics and relationships, etc. So, just a tiny plug, and Black Love Boutique is going to branch into the YouTube space as well, talking all things Black love.
I'm excited. I can't wait because, yes, I need to hear all that conversation. Yeah. Me and my Nigerian husband, dear Lord, the conversations we have and the misunderstandings and all of that. So that's going to be good.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Thank you.
Celebrating each other, loving each other. Black Love Boutique owner, LaTasha Stewart-Estelle. All the links, everything we discussed today will be in the section, and we'll make sure it's all there. Okay? I just want to say thank you again, LaTasha. Click, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Thank you, guys. See you next time.
God bless.